I am Sandy Buford Muhammad of Soul Wisdom International, and I am honored to be here with Miss Sylvia, sharing insights and information with you on the whole field of holistic healing and specifically Reiki.
All right, let's get started. Some of the questions I want to ask you, one in particular is that people wonder if Reiki healing is an occult or a religion.
So I'd like to say I can understand why someone would think that. Most times we get our impression of a thing based on what someone else has said to us. So I would first encourage everyone to do a little research for yourself. Reiki is a word. It's, I have all of my notes here and I don't want to miss anything. However, Reiki is a word, it's an energy, and it's holistic healing. So it's nothing connected to an occult, nowhere where anyone is attempting to lead you or guide you in the wrong direction. It's something that you can learn on your own and offer healing for yourself. So it is not in fact that, and I encourage you to do a little research of your own.
So tell me, does the practitioner heal the recipient?
No, ma'am. We are taught as practitioners from the very onset of learning this phenomenal healing modality that we are not healers. We don't heal you. What we utilize is the source energy, is universal energy, what can be termed as God energy. That same thing that all of the prophets have utilized, Jesus, Buddha, Moses. There is an energy, a vital energy force that's abundant and present throughout every single living thing. It is that energy that we are taught and we learn, and a lot of times the practitioners are just naturally with tapping into that source energy. And we ask that energy to flow through us to our clients. And so that's what that is. We do not heal. And it's dependent upon the individual. There are a lot of different factors that go into that, but it's dependent upon the individual, and we are just the vessel.
So it's a lot like laying on of hands that we have come from, our ancestries. If you are Aborigine, Black, so many nationalities have had that in their history where people were healed with laying on of hands, and this was from the elders and the church, and it's still going on today. But it seems that this practice has been somewhat ostracized just because it has a particular name no one understands. So if we called it laying on of hands, everybody would flock to it probably, as they do in the church with the sisters.
Well, first off, I'd like to give you a little history about this, because when you attempt to compare one nationality's way of healing to what you know, say an American way of healing, there's some translation that gets lost in that, right? So the first thing is why I encourage you to do your own research. So Dr. Mikao Usui is the doctor that this particular energy, Reiki, flowed through him hundreds of years ago. He had been fasting and desiring to be able to heal people. Wow. And he lived in a monastery. So in that process of him fasting, he remembered symbols that he had seen before. Now remember, there's nothing new under the sun. So the type of life that he lived, it allowed these symbols to come to him, and he was actually fasting.
Wow.
Now when you go and research all of the spiritual being and all of the texts, you always hear about fasting. You always hear about getting into seclusion to be able to hear from divine source, whatever you call that infinite being, God, Jesus, right? So there are some commonalities. Let's attempt to look at the commonalities, all right? Now, a lot of times you may think this word Reiki is something foreign. It's just the terminology of life source energy flowing. That's all that it means. It's used as Reiki, which is a Japanese term. That's the only distinction.
Right.
The benefit of it is universal. It has no nationality, no color. Energy is free for you and I.
Right. And speaking of free, some people feel like this service should be given freely. I guess like a pastor should be giving his daily service for free, but he has to be sustained so that he can continue to go out and help people in the way that he does. So what
Absolutely.
about Reiki?
Okay, so Reiki is energy. There is no cost for energy. However, for a practitioner to perfect their craft, it takes hours and hours of studying. It takes hours and hours of practices. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Celestine Prophecy, but this particular book, it talks about every single profession should be giving their worth. They should be gifted. They should be paid their worth based on that they give to the world, to the community, right? So if in fact that is true, if there is someone who you have found that is beneficial and has helped you in your life, helped your loved ones, why not allow them to create a living for themselves and offering that service in abundance to as many people as possible? I'm not saying that it should be at such a high rate that you cannot afford it. It should be something to where it's something that it is affordable. You see the benefits, and when you see the benefits of Reiki, you have no problems with offering, I like to call them love offerings, to the one that's servicing you. It's taken a lot of time for them to perfect their craft.
You know that term, our people are lost for lack of knowledge. Whenever I do an interview, I want to emphasize any books that are recommended so you can educate yourself.
Yes.
And it takes me back to that song of Stevie Wonder, who I used to read all of his words, so much wisdom in his albums. And he said, superstition. It's about superstition. They believe in things that they don't understand.
Right.
And they believe in even their own religion that they really don't understand. They listen to a man on a Sunday, and that's it for a lot of people. They don't do research. They don't study. I want to go back to the Reiki. Am I saying it right? Reiki?
So it's a Japanese word, first of all. So I don't think any of us of the American tongue will appropriately pronounce it like it should do it justice. However, I think what you're saying is perfectly okay.
Okay, on the healing, is it a one-time healing procedure?
Let me answer that first. No, it's a way of life. So no is the answer. I'd like to address something that you mentioned about superstition and us not researching things of our for ourselves. I'll use religion as an example. As you mentioned, most of us, we embrace religion as one day a week. Once that one day, Sunday, Saturday, whatever day that is for you to worship, once that day is gone, you don't have a tendency of feeling connected with God, with Source, with Universe. Reiki is a beautiful opportunity for you to stay connected with Source. Every practitioner is taught how to utilize this universal energy, right? You can be taught how to utilize this universal energy and offer healing to yourself. I would recommend that you learn at least the first level of Reiki. There are 3 levels. Some say more than 3. I say there are 3 levels that I teach you here at Your Life Center where we're here today. There are 3 levels. The first level that you learn about the history of Reiki, and you learn what it is and what it is not, and these questions are addressed. Is it curing? Is it a one-time healing process? Some people receive results immediately. Some don't. As I mentioned before, it's all individualistic. But I would encourage you to do a little research for yourself. Don't always listen and wait for someone to give you something. That's the shift that we have to change as human beings. We have to be cause. And what do I mean by that? We have to be in the process of causing our lives to be in the direction that we desire it to be. And no reasons.
I know there's some things that you want to touch on that I don't have questions for, that I wouldn't even know to ask. So I hope you can contribute to what that is.
Oh, wow. So I'd like to share with you, thank you so much for bringing to our attention the many different facilities that are embracing Reiki and healing modalities similar to Reiki. I believe it's almost like we have many rays of colors of people. We have many traditions. We have many religions, right? And just like the medical field, I'm believing that they are understanding that there is more than one way to get to the same result. And sometimes that includes non-traditional methods.
Right.
And some of those non-traditional methods are what we call a part of the healing art. So I'm grateful to hear that. I also believe if you go back in time, go back 200 years, 300 years or so, the medical arena was not as advanced as it was. It became more and more advanced because of people being very persistent in saying there has to be a cure for this. There has to be a modality, something that's easier to get to the result of what we're getting to.
Right.
And so now we are seeing this full circle. And if you ever recall the phrase, there's nothing new under the sun and everything just keeps repeating itself, that's exactly what's happening. We are actually going back to our roots.
Right.
We're actually going back to the health that we once had in the beginning. If you of any religious belief, you know that there is a beginning. There was a beginning, and in the beginning was the Word, and then the Word became flesh. Now, if that is in fact true, can you visualize how that beginning looked? It probably looked something totally different from what it looked today.
Right.
We are always in this cycle of evolution. Most time we are cycling right back where we came from because the source. So that's
medicine, it has borrowed from the source and legalized it. And the only way they could legalize it was to put chemicals in it that they could regulate, own, and have licenses for. And because they can't license herbs, then they are not
herbs
encouraged.
Are free. You can grow them in your garden.
They have tried to legalize them. There was a time, I think it was in the 80s, that they were trying to legalize them. Unfortunately, we wouldn't let them. But I agree. Do you agree? You agree that when you're ill, you're not going to just do one thing. You're going to try as many things as you feel comfortable and secure about to get yourself into a position of health.
Yes.
And some people just rely on just the pharmaceutical avenue. When you can start looking at your diet, you can start looking at herbs, you can start looking at other modalities and oils, and it's okay. And the documentaries I've seen of people who have been cured, quite a few of them, now I haven't seen all of them, they have incorporated all these things.
Absolutely.
And they're eager to tell people.
Absolutely. And that's the key to it. You know, there are so many. The first thing I'd like to say is the purpose of Reiki, it's a preventive maintenance. We're not asking for you to come to a practitioner just because there is something going wrong with you. Reiki is utilized as a preventive measure. However, the majority of people who are seeking alternative medicines find Reiki. And with anything, the pharmaceutical industry gets a little upset when anything impinges upon their ability to create wealth for themselves and their family. Let's just be honest about that. Okay, so anything that comes to upset that, a lot of times there's a lot of misinformation that's put out to bring people up against it. So the first thing is, please always do your own research. The second thing is, it's a way of life, as you just mentioned. It's about your diet. It's about how you think. It's about your environment. It's a holistic way of living. Reiki is just a part of it. So we do encourage you, don't wait until it's something of such traumaticness that's happening in your life. I think I may have made up a new word, traumaticness. I do that sometimes.
It made the point.
Absolutely, absolutely. But not just waiting until you are at your wit's end and there's nothing else. And then a lot of times people say, I tried this alternative medicine and it didn't do anything for me. That's because a lot of times you wait so long and it's a gradual process. Like I always say, it didn't happen overnight.
Right.
So don't expect the healing to be overnight. Although there is a God and it can happen. Just be fair.
It has a lot to do with your belief system. It has a
Yes.
lot to do with how much dirt you've been putting in your body, how many.
Yes.
But they look for it to act like a chemical, and that's the first thing that when people ask me about what I've done, and I say you
Yes.
cannot expect it to give you an immediate reaction like a chemical will, which is
Absolutely.
not necessarily a good reaction, but you're getting a reaction, and that's what you want, and that's not how natural healing.
Well, I have to agree with you in part.
In part,
there
I
have
do.
been
Yes.
those who have seen tremendous results.
You're right.
When you come with an open mind and open heart, you've done some of the legwork yourself before you've gotten to a
Right.
practitioner of
Right.
holistic, then your results, just like anything that you practice, your results are going to be different from someone who have no idea about this modality.
Right.
So yes, there are some people who receive results instantly.
You're right. Yes.
And then there are those who you have to be persistent and
What did he
consistent
say? You are
with
healed
it.
because of your faith.
Yes.
And then he tell one of them, don't go tell anybody, because that will
Yes.
turn him around and say, well, what they're saying couldn't happen, so I guess it did. And the next thing you know, they're back with the same problem.
Let me share with you. I tell all of my clients, the transformation that you know that you receive, you be mindful of who you share that with, because you don't
Absolutely.
need anyone
They will take your
invalidating
energy.
what you know to be true. When you believe you are healed, it is as simple as that.
Period.
Without a shadow of a doubt. You are healed. Now all we need for you to do is to walk up to the door, open the door, and walk and step into your healness.
Right.
That's all that is.
Don't be, oh, ye of little faith.
That's
Don't be
it.
that one.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Right. I have chills.
Ah,
I know that means spirit is present.
yes. yes, indeed, indeed.
So is there anything else before we close this that you want to leave everyone with? You've left with so much knowledge
thank you.
and wisdom.
Thank you, thank you.
And I really I appreciate it myself whenever I'm in the presence of that. But is there
Wow.
something else?
Again, I just want to share with you and tell you thank you so much for opening this door, this avenue, so that this information can flow to the masses. If anyone who's listening to this, and if you are in doubt of any of this, or if any questions arise that you don't have an answer to, I am available. You can reach me at 770-906-6193. And I encourage you, before you call though, and ask a question that you can find out for yourself, I would suggest that you begin to do your own research. And when you do call, you can ask an intelligent question, and then I can help you further along on the journey to bring more clarity to you. But this is the way of life. It would be wonderful for you to be a part of this and get out of the paradigm that there's only one way to get to salvation, or one way to get to a healing. There are numerous ways, and God blessed it that way. We no longer have to go just through one specific door. We will all go through many doors and end up in the exact same space. That is what I believe, and that is what I leave you with. Research, be your own healer. Reach out to the people who can guide you into the best of manner, the best of life, the best of decision making, and just be happy. And that's part of the battle there. Be happy. Right wherever you are. Serve with gratitude. Offer gratitude. Accept life through gratitude. And that's half the battle there. Thank you so much.